Hey friends, welcome back to At Home with Juju. I'm Juju, your design obsessed bestie, and I truly believe that size does not matter. Okay, at least when it comes to your home design, okay? Today I'm going to be sharing 10 juicy tips for small space design that's going to make your small home feel like a penthouse. No construction crew needed, no demo, just vibes and smart design. Let's get into it. So tip number one is to build up. When a lot of people design, they literally think side to side. You need to think bottom to the top. Look at the height in your home, and you really need to utilize that and just reimagine the space and how you can use the height to decorate. Your walls are not just walls, they're opportunities, okay? Shelves, tall bookcases, art, curtains, literally anything that will draw your eye up, you need to utilize. Taking materials and decor and putting them up higher not only adds to the functionality in your space, but it also makes the space feel bigger. Here are just a few examples of people who have done this correctly. Utilizing height makes the space feel a lot more grand, a lot more intentional and well designed when your space is small. Basically, treat your walls like a high rise. I mean, we're not in New York City, but we've definitely got New York City prices out here, so every inch counts. Number two is proportionate furniture. I know that cloud sofa looks very tempting, but let's be real, you guys, if your apartment is the size of a cloud, don't do it, okay? You want to utilize furniture that is the right size. Don't get anything too big, but you don't want anything too small. Like, this is like, what's her name? Goldilocks and the Three Little Bears. Like, it needs to be just right for your space. So measure. When you have a small space, every little space, an inch counts, and you want to be exact with your styling and your furniture choices. Scale is literally everything, especially when you have a small space. You really need to think of your furniture like a tailored blazer or tailored suit. Like, it needs to be exact and just right. Snatched, not sloppy. And again, I need to reiterate, that doesn't mean tiny dollhouse furniture either. Having a bunch of small pieces in your small space is just gonna make it look cluttered and overwhelming. So again, not too big, but definitely don't get a bunch of small pieces either. I think one large statement piece in a small space is important, but make sure you measure it just right, but it does have to be big and statement. I think that's really important as far as design goes and what looks good on the eye. Tip number 3 is mirrors. You definitely want to utilize mirrors if you have a small space. Mirrors literally act as like a Photoshop of your home. It makes the space look so much bigger and brighter than it actually is. They bounce light, they double your visual space, and they trick your guests into thinking you live larger than you actually do. The best place for mirror placement is directly in front of a window, in front of a balcony. That will really give the illusion that your space has doubled in size, but it also bounces off more light, making the space feel brighter and larger and more airy. Another really cool place to place your mirror is in a hallway. It's going to make the hallway feel much longer, more elevated, and just, it's going to feel like that hallway. I can't say that girl. It's going to feel like that hallway. It's going to be really cute. Tip number 4, organization matters. Clutter is the enemy. Nothing shrinks the space faster than clutter. Like, if you've seen hoarders, and by the time they clear out that space, you're like, oh my gosh, this room literally feels like it's doubled in size. That's because clutter shrinks a space. If your coffee table books look like they're auditioning for an episode of Hoarders, you've got a problem. If your clothes organization looks like an episode of Hoarders, we've got a problem. Invest in organization if you have a small space, believe me. And I'm talking about baskets, IKEA wardrobes, lots of closet organization, furniture that has storage in it, like ottomans that have tops on them that you could take it off and store stuff in there. literally storage and multifunctional furniture is key. Some other storage options is under bed storage. Right now I'm doing a guest room makeover and it's so teeny tiny, and you guys are gonna see a lot of these tips in that makeover. I think that's next weekend. I don't know. I hate telling you guys when a video is gonna be because sometimes things get mixed around with my schedule. I think I told you this week we were gonna have a makeover, but now it's gonna be next week. Anyway, put in your notifications so you don't miss it. But I am doing a guest room makeover and it's so tiny, but there's a lot of stuff that needs to go in there. So there's going to be some under bed storage. There's going to be over the door storage. So think about utilizing in your bathroom or your bedroom or even in your closet, getting more storage for behind the door. Like, those things are a game changer in a small space. Tip number 5, paint placement is very powerful. Paint isn't just about color, it's about psychology. So for instance, if you wanted taller ceilings, maybe paint your ceiling a lighter color than the rest of your room. That's really going to make the space feel taller, and it's going to almost take away that ceiling, make it feel like it's floating and taller. Want a longer room? Go darker on the 4th wall, and that's going to make your space feel a lot larger. You could even paint half of the wall to make it feel taller. This is very effective, and you guys actually saw me do this in the toddler boys room makeover. I'll make sure to link that either in the description box or after this video. Tip number 6, I already mentioned, but that's multi-purpose furniture. So this goes back into organization sometimes. For example, that ottoman that has the storage. In a small space, every single piece pulls weight. So sofa by day, bed by night. A Murphy bed, for example, is a perfect option for a small space. And you guys will see me putting a Murphy bed in my guest room. I actually bought one. I'm storing it right now. You guys will find out why next week, so don't miss it. A coffee table that's secretly a desk that folds down from the wall. Literally think of how you can use multifunctional pieces of furniture, or a kitchen table that's used as an office space. You need to get creative when you have a small space and think of all the different ways you can utilize the pieces of furniture that you have. If your furniture can't multitask, it's fired, okay? If you have a small space and you have a useless little piece of furniture, you mean you can only do one thing? I don't think so. Number 7, which is probably one of my favorites, and that is rugs. Rugs define, they don't confine. Yeah, I know. I should start my rap career. I know. People always ask, should I even bother with a rug in a small space? And the answer is absolutely yes, because you need to define the different areas in that space. You don't want it to feel like one big room. We need to separate them into different functional rooms, and a rug is the perfect way to do that. Rugs define zones. They tell you where your living room ends and where your dining room begins, where your bedroom starts and where the office space begins. Just make sure your rug is big enough, okay? Nothing screams postage stamp more than a tiny little rug underneath your coffee table or underneath your couch. We need to make sure that it is proportionate size, the appropriate size for your space. Sorry, I'm really passionate about rug sizes. Okay, let's move on. Lastly, before you're picking out your rug, I just got one more thing to say. Make sure when you look at it, say, okay, does this feel like I'm creating a zone, or does this feel like a doormat? Does this feel like a little piece of thread that's just here for decoration, or is it really defining the space? Like, really listen to how your body's feeling. And honestly, just a general rule of thumb, the 2 front legs of your sofa should be touching the rug. So if your rug doesn't fit on both sides of your sofa, it's too small. Tip number 8 is lighting. Overhead lighting in a small space is criminal. Seriously. That is just going to make your space feel so small and literally dungeon-like. We want to really invest in the proper lighting for a small space. You want to mix in floor lamps, wall sconces, table lamps. Create that ambiance and that warm lighting in your space, and try to avoid overhead lighting because that's only going to make your space feel smaller. And the more light sources you have and the more you mix them up, it just makes your space feel bigger and more inviting and warmer and more comfortable to be in. In regards to lighting, a pro tip is to just avoid blocking lighting sources like windows and balconies with furniture. I know sometimes with a small space that is unavoidable, but I would say try to avoid it as much as you can, because natural light is literally free square footage and it's going to make your space look so much bigger. So if you have a small space, or just any space really, but especially a small space, try to avoid blocking those light sources with your pieces of furniture. Number 9, my tip is to keep it cohesive. If your space is small, you want it to look seamless and together. If it's too disjointed, it's going to be jarring and it's really going to draw attention to the fact that your space is small. If your space is small, your style needs to be consistent. That doesn't mean boring or that you can't mix around and play around with your stuff and your colors, but you should try to make them be complementary at least. Your furniture, your colors, your accessories, and decor should all play together. One thing that helps me when designing a space, really, as far as like what's cohesive, is to think of it like an outfit. You can mix prints, but they need to coordinate. You can mix colors, but they need to be complementary or repetitive. Like sometimes I like to take a piece of art and just pick the colors out of there and let it be a repetitive thing throughout my space, and that really helps to create a cohesive look. And that also applies to your style choices overall. So if your bedroom feels like this like bohemian hipster paradise, but your living room feels like this goth vampire castle, it's gonna be messy. So keep it cohesive. And number 10 is personalize, but also edit. So you want your space to feel like you. Put out your favorite pieces of art, put out your favorite color sofa, make it feel like you, but at the same time, don't put out everything you've ever owned. When you are in a small space, you really have to be intentional about what you decide to put out. I hear a lot of people say that being in a small space really allows them to be, yes, intentional about what they bring in their house, but also appreciate what's in their house even more because they have to be so intentional about it. So I would say make sure that it's you, but don't put out everything that you love, like keep some stuff in storage and just put your favorites on display is basically what I'm trying to say. So if you have a small space, think of your space like your Instagram highlights, for example. Only the best moments make the cut. And that's it, guys. Those are my 10 design tips on how to make your small space feel bigger. Let me know if you have tried any of these tips in the past or if you plan to try them. I love you all so much. I really do. I love you so. Okay. I love you guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe and all that good stuff, and tune in next week because I promise, be doing a makeover next weekend, and I have one the following weekend. So lots of makeovers coming and you don't want to miss it. I love you guys. See you in the next one.